Donald Trump was having a meltdown at 1:06 a.m. over his catastrophic trade war with Canada, as Canada has struck back hard. Prime Minister Carney made it clear, we are indeed in a war against the United States because they attacked us. We are in a trade war and Canada will win this trade war, Prime Minister Carney said yesterday. So finally, Donald Trump broke his silence at 1:06 a.m. in the morning after hanging out with Natalie all day. By the way, the press pool at the White House caught them walking in together around 4:45 p.m. when they kicked out all the press from the White House. But I digress. At 1:06 a.m., Donald Trump posted the following: Canada wants the benefits of being a state without being one. They have also charged our great farmers for many years massive amounts of tariffs. No more! Exclamation points. President DJT. Canada does not want the benefits of being a state. Canada wants to be Canada, a sovereign, proud nation, and they want to be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve as an ally, as a country that has always had the back of the United States that you have utterly betrayed. There is a trade agreement with Canada that you did during your first term called CUSMA, the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, and all anybody is saying is stick to the terms of the deal. Canada negotiated in good faith. The Trump regime negotiated in bad faith. Donald Trump has tried every tactic to get Canada to submit, to become the 51st state, whether it was attacking Canada because they ran a ad using Ronald Reagan's speech, when Ronald Reagan's supposed to be someone the Republicans claim they look up to, whether it's because of the bridge that was being built between Michigan and Canada, whether it was whatever the justification was, the Trump regime would, the wildfires, whatever it was, the Trump regime would try to find ways to say, this is why we're attacking Canada, and this is why they need to become the 51st state. Well, no, Prime Minister Carney made it very clear that Canada will stand up for its sovereignty. It will never submit. It will not do a bad deal. It rather do no deal at all. And the Canadian people and the premiers of Canada are rallying around Prime Minister Carney right now, while in the United States, Donald Trump's trade war against Canada is deeply unpopular. And the people in the United States are like, why is this psycho in the Oval Office engaged in this stupid trade war that's going to be a tax on the American people? And that also is mutual destruction regarding U.S. and Canadian relations. Like, what the heck are you doing? So then after posting that, Donald Trump, by the way, previously posted Mark Levin saying, these blue states are sabotaging you. And then Donald Trump posted before that, we've escorted over 1,000 ships through the Strait of Hormuz. That's like Donald Trump's latest, now that he doesn't have any credibility whatsoever about anything, but about all of these fake deals with Iran. Now Donald Trump basically claims fake ship crossings. And so yesterday he went to Barack Ravid, and Barack Ravid was like, we've set unprecedented levels of oil that went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, and it was a great day for the oil markets. It's like, okay, stop trying to manipulate the markets. Like, we're not fools. We know what you're trying to do there. Just deranged post after deranged post by Donald Trump throughout the day. But let me show you what they were saying in Canada earlier in the day. You had the Premier of Manitoba, Wab Kinew, saying the following. Let's play this clip.
History will not be kind to Donald Trump, so we should never appease him. And we should fight back, which is what Canada is doing today. We can fight back against Donald Trump by buying from Canadian businesses, by supporting Canadian workers, and most importantly, by living up to our Canadian values. I can tell you right now that Team Canada is 100% united behind what the Prime Minister announced earlier today.
You had David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia, saying the following. Play the clip.
The hope is, my hope is, that with a change in administration or a change in approach from this administration following the electoral impacts that they're seeing currently, that we'll be able to get to a place of stability. But I think the idea that our relationship with the United States is going to go back to what it was is folly. It has changed. It will not go back. And as a result, we have to do the uncomfortable but necessary work of reaching out and increasing our trade diversification around the world to ensure that we will not be held hostage in the way that the president is trying to right now by the fact that we've been willing to integrate with the American economy to the extent that we did.
By the way, Canoe and Eby are members of the NDP party, which is like the left-wing party in Canada. Charlie Angus from Midas Canada is a member of the NDP when he was a member of Parliament. Doug Ford on the opposite side, right-wing conservative premier from Ontario. Here's what he had to say yesterday. Play this clip.
And again, I'm going to give the Prime Minister credit one more time. It's very complicated, folks. And, you know, President Trump, he can't be trusted. Simple as that. He changes the deal. He keeps moving the goalpost. You know, let me tell you about President Trump. President Trump is the type of person that would steal your lunch money the first day. He'd steal the toque off your head the second day, and the third day he'd steal your running shoes. He is not to be trusted whatsoever. We need to stay united.
And then Prime Minister Carney, during his powerful speech, said the following. Let's play it.
Was Howard Lutnick's involvement in the last days an impediment to getting a deal?
It's a question for the U.S. administration. Ultimately, I'm responsible for the decisions of the Canadian government. We take it as a cabinet, but I certainly bear those responsibilities. And so the head of the U.S. administration, the president, bears responsibility for the decisions they take. But I will say this, which is that the Canadian team unified the individuals you see here, their team members, our ambassador in Washington, my chief of staff, unified, talking together, the clerk of the Privy Council, everyone in the loop, everyone knows what our objectives are, collective decision making. As I say, ultimately, I and the cabinet bear responsibility for those decisions, but unity. You cannot say that about the United States administration. And as a consequence, last point, and I'll go to your colleagues, because I think this is important. In these last few days, we were drilling down on specific issues that might have been papered over, the differences in the administration, if there were indeed differences. Ultimately, there's a decision maker at the top. And in drilling down on those, a number of those issues that I just referenced became very clear, and there was not a deal that we...
And more from Prime Minister Carney right here. Let's play this clip.
Your midnight statement mentioned part of the breakdown was the reliability of any deal. What do you say to other global business and what do you say to other business and government leaders around the world who can wonder if the U.S. can be trusted from here? If Donald Trump can't execute the art of the deal with friendly Canada, who can he do business with?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you execute a deal, you have to stand by that deal. And Canada stands by our agreements. We've stood by the term. I mean, we're only responding in the context of a series of unjustified tariffs that have been put in place, unjustified under the, we have a deal with the Americans. I mean, that's the thing. We have a deal with the Americans. It's called CUSMA. We have side letters that clarify behavior in steel, in aluminum, in autos. All of those are being violated day in, day out. They act as if, you know, we have a deal. Okay, what message does that send? On the other side of the ledger, you have a country, Canada, that has a series of trade deals around the world that's expanding rapidly, that will continue to expand because we're trusted, because we're reliable, because we have things like critical minerals, many other aspects that the world wants. And so we're going to continue to pursue that. And one thing that we certainly were not going to accept was any restriction on our ability to execute those deals.
Yeah, and so Canada is united, as you can see. I'll do a whole other video on Canada staying strong and united together. But yes, 1:06 a.m., Donald Trump goes, Canada wants the benefits of being a state. I mean, what an utterly absurd, you have to understand, Trump is a sexual predator, right? I mean, he's a sicko and he won't go away. And so he's like, oh, you want to be a state? You want to be a state, don't you? And Canada's like, no, we don't want to be a state. We don't want to be the, oh, you want it. It's like, dude, get the hell away from us, you freaking creep. Get out of here. Get out of here, you sicko predator. That's basically Canada's view, of Donald Trump. It's like, get away. And he's always going to come back. And it's why at some point you just got to say, just go away. We'll deal with the consequences of this trade war. We will fight. We will stand proud in Canada, and we will win. As I noted earlier in the video, Donald Trump called a lid for most of the day, meaning he kicked out the press from the White House throughout most of the day yesterday. But the press pool was able to catch Donald Trump with Natalie, your pooler, the press pool who was responsible for being around where Donald Trump is in the White House. Your pooler saw Trump, POTUS, leave the car at 4:45 with Natalie Harp immediately after. I think we got photos of Donald Trump and Natalie Harp yesterday. Donald Trump did not comment regarding Canada for most of the day until 1:06 a.m., but he was spending lots of time with Natalie. As I noted earlier, Barack Ravid was leaked the following by the Trump regime. Around 40 tankers transited in and out of the Strait of Hormuz through the Southern Deep Channel on Friday night. Around 16 million barrels of oil moved out of the Strait through the Southern Channel on Friday night. 3 U.S. officials told me. With Ravid, it's always 3 U.S. officials told me. But you notice now the market manipulation is not, we did a peace deal. No one believes that anymore. Frankly, no one should believe what he's saying here. But the new tactic is just like 1,000 ships passed, 40 tankers passed. Look, there are satellite images of the Strait of Hormuz. The VLCCs are very large. You can see them. Even the other ships that aren't VLCCs that carry oil, you can see them in the Strait of Hormuz. And so even if they turn their AIS off, they turn those transponders off and use the route and go dark, you can still see. And we know our strategic petroleum reserves in the U.S. continue to be depleted. We can see the price of gas. We know that the price of crude continues to go up. It's going to hit, $100 a barrel soon. I mean, we're talking mid-90s at this point. We know the price of diesel's hitting like $200 a barrel soon. We know per gallon the price of gas, $4.11 nationwide, but probably by you in the United States, it's more than that. We know the price of diesel, $5.57 a gallon, but probably more than that by you right now. And so supply and demand, if all of this oil is actually getting out there, plus Donald Trump says we're getting so much oil right here in the old USA, and also we're getting so much oil from Venezuela, he says, right? From Venezuela, from USA, from Alaska, from Texas. Apparently, according to Barack Ravid, 40 tankers carrying 16 million barrels. Okay, then if that's true, which it isn't, then wouldn't the price of gas be going down rapidly? If we had an abundance, wouldn't we actually see that in the market? No, you've been manipulating the market day in, day out. You've been lying. And what's actually been happening is the supply continues to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And we have a catastrophic shortage. And guess who provides us with a lot of oil? Guess who provides us here with a lot of electricity? As there's the electricity inflation is through the roof. Guess who provides the U.S. with most of its energy? Canada, who Donald Trump is attacking because he's a predator and a sicko and wants to go after the closest ally and neighbor of the United States. During an energy crisis already, you can't get much more dumber and demented than the psychotic idiot, sexual predator, sicko, demented felon in the Oval Office. You have Benny Johnson, right-wing propagandist, going on state regime media, and he's like, Donald Trump looks at Iran and says, Hormuz your daddy. Hormuz your daddy, Benny Johnson says. Hormuz your daddy. What in the world are y'all Hormuz your daddy? This is serious stuff. This is matters of war and peace, life and death. This is a Trump regime that slaughtered 168 little girls in Manab, slaughtered 21 little girls playing volleyball in Le Merde, slaughtered thousands of people in Iran, slaughtered people across the world. And you're just doing, Hormuz your daddy, should I bomb Iran? Ha ha ha. No, it's not funny at all. This is not humorous. This is matters that we need to take deeply seriously. But this is what this right-wing propaganda is all about. Play this clip.
It really is too bad for them to say that they're upset about Iran and they're upset about radical Islamic jihad. Have a look at your own party. I think what they're upset about is that Donald Trump's actually doing pretty damn well in this war right now. Donald Trump is looking right now at Iran and saying, Hormuz, your daddy. Who's your daddy? Whoever.
And we also learned yesterday that Iran was successfully able to, earlier in the war, shut down a British power plant for 4 days in an unprecedented cyber attack, the Telegraph can disclose. It is thought to be the first time that hackers affiliated to the Iranian regime have succeeded in closing down such a facility in the UK, and believed to be the most successful cyber attack of its kind. By the way, that happened at the same time that Iran was able to shut down certain water power facilities in Minnesota here in the United States, which Trump denied and blamed on Minnesota because he doesn't like the state of Minnesota. But Iran's been able to successfully do that. It's being covered up here in the United States. And then we were able to hear yesterday from Iran's Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, meaning the top military advisor to the Ayatollah Mojtaba. And this guy's name is Mohsen Rezi. He's the Iran's Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council. And here's what he had to say. Trump's foolish decision to attack Iran has increased people's desire around the world to obtain nuclear weapons, especially after they saw that membership in the International Atomic Energy Agency and the NPT did nothing to prevent a U.S. attack. Instead of creating nuclear security, Trump has created nuclear insecurity. He goes on to say, after the U.S. military attack on Iran, the world saw that possessing a nuclear bomb could be more effective than 100 F-35s. The F-35s lost their aura of invincibility in Iran, and Arab countries no longer trust American weapons. He goes on to say, we will defend Iran resolutely and will not allow American forces to set foot in Iran. I advise the Americans not to deploy any additional forces because we will strike them. Finally, Mohsen Rezi says, we are telling all neighboring countries not to participate in the economic war alongside the United States. Otherwise, we will consider them enemies. We are not seeking to expand the war, but if countries around Iran cooperate with the Americans in the economic war, we will strike their interests. If countries around Iran join the Americans in the economic war, not a single drop of oil will leave the Persian Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz, and we will also target other routes through which oil is exported from the Persian Gulf. And of course, independent verification shows that very few tankers are actually getting out of the Strait of Hormuz, and that these Trump regime leaks to Barack Ravid are all lies intended to manipulate the market. But folks, as I've said before, and I talk about this in the book that I wrote, WTF America with My Brothers, which comes out October, pre-order it right now. The example we give with the reflecting pool, which I think is a metaphor for all of this, you can try to paint it blue. You can engage in all your fraud and your scams and your schemes and your ranting. But guess what? If you don't actually address the issues, and if you're not honest and transparent about things, the algae always comes back. The algae always comes back in the reflecting pool, and you can lie. And, you know, the way Besant manipulates the yen one day and he does bond buybacks the next day. And you've got Trump doing with Barack Ravid, you know, putting out these things that move the markets here or there. But guess what? The algae always comes back. And here we are, August 23rd, 6 months into this catastrophic and unlawful war. And we are in an economic crisis in the United States that was very, very predictable. But guess what Donald Trump is doing? And I'll leave you with this, and I'm sure you knew about it. Donald Trump in the month of June did over 1,000 stock trades for June. This is in addition to all of the reporting we previously did, right? In 2025, we learned that he did 21,000 stock trades in that year alone. But in just the month of June, we got the financial disclosures from Trump, 1,000 stock trades in June. He was like trading Boeing, right around Boeing deals with the government. He did a Vanguard ETF trade of somewhere between like $25 and $100 million. He traded in Amazon. He traded in all these companies that the U.S. government does businesses with. And it was one of these disclosures that listed all of these companies, and the Trump regime goes, no conflicts of interest here. No conflicts of interest here. Really, no conflicts of interest. And so Donald Trump gallivanting around with Natalie. What do they do in the Fortune, the the Grand Prix IndyCar race event, the ridiculous thing in today. You've got him doing 1,000 stock trades in June, talking about golden ballrooms, while the American people are looking at gas prices at $4.11 nationwide, but probably more expensive by you. Diesel, $5.57 a gallon, but probably more expensive by you nationwide. Groceries, all-time highs. Electricity, all-time highs. Inflation surging. And that's what Trump's doing. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Appreciate you.
Before you go, our book, WTF America, is available for pre-order now. It's the story of how we got here and how we fight our way back. To pre-order, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.